$100 million Leads, How to Get Strangers to Want to Buy Your Stuff, by Alex Hormozi. Introduction. March 2017. The air is still and quiet at 3 in the morning. A young man named Alex Hormozi sits at his desk, but he's not working out of ambition. He's working out of desperation. Just hours before, his girlfriend and business partner, Layla, had shown him the disaster on her laptop. A waterfall of refunds. $150,000 gone. Money they didn't have. Money they owed to friends they had just convinced to quit their jobs. This wasn't the first time he'd faced ruin. He'd already built and sold a chain of gyms, poured his life savings into a new venture, and lost it all to a deceitful partner. This was supposed to be the comeback. And now, it felt like the end. He had to make $150,000 in profit, not just revenue, in 30 days. And he had to do it with no money, and no experience making that kind of profit in a month. Ever. As he sat there, scribbling ideas in a notebook, a single, terrifying question echoed in the silence: how do I get people to buy my stuff when no one even knows I exist? That question, born from a moment of near total failure, is the heart of the book we are exploring today, $100 Million Leads, by Alex Hormozi. This isn't just a book about marketing. It's a survival guide. A blueprint for turning complete strangers into eager customers. Hormozi has since built a portfolio of companies doing over $250 million in annual revenue, all founded on the principles he forged in the fire of those desperate moments. He argues that having a flood of leads, of potential customers, is the one skill that makes you immune to failure. It gives you endless chances to get it right. Today, I'm going to share with you the secrets from within these pages. We're not going to just skim the surface. We're going to go deep into the mindset and the mechanics of a man who built a $100 million net worth by the age of 32, primarily through the skill of advertising. And by the end of our time together, I promise you this: you will understand the 4, and only 4, fundamental ways to get strangers to want to buy your stuff. You will have a roadmap that can take you from 0 customers to a business that can't be ignored. This is the end of the beginning. So, let's get started. Book summary. So, where do we begin? We begin with a simple, almost childlike question that Alex Hormozi himself got stuck on. A question so fundamental that his 6-month struggle to answer it became the entire foundation for this book. What is a lead? Is it a name on a list? An email address? Someone who clicks on your ad? We throw this word around all the time, but what does it really mean? Hormozi came to a very simple conclusion. A lead is just a person you can contact. That's it. The numbers in your phone are leads. The people walking down the street are leads. But here's the first big shift in thinking he offers us. Leads alone are not enough. Imagine you're at a party. The room is filled with people. They are all, technically, leads. You could talk to any of them. But most are in their own conversations, looking at their phones, or getting a drink. They aren't paying you any attention. But then, someone across the room makes eye contact. They smile. They raise their hand in a little wave. That person is different. They have shown interest. They are no longer just a lead, they are an engaged lead. And that, Hormozi tells us, is the true goal of all advertising. Not just to collect contacts, but to get people to raise their hand and say, "Hey, I'm interested in what you have." This changes everything. The question is no longer how do I get more leads? The real question becomes, how do I get leads to engage? And the answer is surprisingly simple. You have to give them something they want. This brings us to one of Alex's most powerful stories. Early in his career, He paid $25,000 to join a mentorship group, and everyone told him the magic key to success was to host a webinar. You know, one of those long online presentations. His mentor even told him, "Do a webinar every week until you make $1 million. Until then, don't ask me about anything else." So Alex spent 8 long Sundays piecing this thing together. The landing pages, the emails, the slides. It was an overwhelming puzzle. Finally, he launched it. He spent $450 on ads over 3 days. And the result? 80 leads, and 0 sales. No one even watched his webinar. He felt like a complete failure. Crushed, he was scrolling through his newsfeed when an ad caught his eye. It wasn't for a webinar. It was for a free case study on how I spent $1 and made $123,000 in a weekend. Intrigued, he clicked. It wasn't a fancy presentation. It was just a guy, recording his screen, walking through exactly how he ran a successful advertising campaign. No fancy slides, no hype. Just pure, valuable information. A light bulb went off. Alex thought, "This, I can do." He fired up his own screen recorder and made a simple, 13-minute video. He said, essentially, "Here's the ad account of a gym we just launched. Here are the ads we ran. Here's how much we spent. Here's how many members they got, and here's how much money the gym owner made. This is everything we did. If you want help doing this, book a call." He swapped out his failed webinar for this simple case study video. The next morning, Layla asked him, "Alex, what did you do? Strangers have booked my calendar solid for the next week." It was working. The lesson was profound. People didn't want his webinar, but they desperately wanted his case study. He learned that to get leads to engage, you don't need something complex or perfectly polished. You just need to give people something they actually want. This is the birth of the lead magnet. A lead magnet is a complete solution to a very narrow problem. It's a small, valuable gift you offer in exchange for someone's attention and contact information. Think of it like the salty pretzels at a bar. The bar gives them away for free. They solve the small, narrow problem of hunger. But what happens after you eat salty pretzels? You get thirsty. And that thirst creates a new problem. A problem solved by the bar's core offer, a drink, which you pay for. A great lead magnet does the same thing. It solves one problem for free, but in doing so, it naturally reveals the next, bigger problem that your main product or service solves. So how do we create one? Hormozi gives us a simple, 7-step framework. First, you figure out the narrow problem you want to solve for a specific person. For a real estate agent, the big problem is selling a house. A narrow problem that comes before that is, what is my house worth? Or how can I increase its value? The lead magnet could be a free home valuation guide. It solves that narrow problem and naturally leads to the next one, selling the house. Second, you figure out how to solve it. Hormozi breaks this into 3 types. You can reveal their problem, like a free website speed test that shows a business owner how much money they're losing. You can offer a sample or trial, like a free workout class or a small food sample at Costco. Or, you can give them one step of a multi-step process, like offering the first chapter of a book for free. This book you're listening to a summary of? It's a lead magnet for Alex's investment company, acquisition.com. It solves the problem of getting leads, which then creates a new problem for successful businesses: how to scale. A problem his core offer, investing in their company, solves. Third, you figure out how to deliver it. This can be through software like a calculator, information like a guide or video, services a free consultation, or a physical product a free sample. Fourth, and this is crucial, you test what to name it. The famous ad man David Ogilvy said that when you've written your headline, you've spent 80 cents of your dollar. The name matters more than almost anything. Hormozi himself tested the title of this very book. He ran polls asking his audience, $100 million advertising or $100 million leads? Leads won, and that's the title on the cover. A small change can make a huge difference. Fifth, make it easy to consume. People like reading, others like watching, others like listening. That's why his book comes in physical, ebook, audiobook, and even a free video course format. The more ways people can consume it, the more people will. It's an easy way to 2x, 3x, or even 4x your reach for the same amount of work. Sixth, make it darn good. Give away your best secrets. He says you want your lead magnet to be so valuable that people feel obligated to pay you. 99% of people will never buy from you, but they will form their entire opinion of you based on your free stuff. So make it better than other people's paid stuff. And finally, seventh, make it easy for them to tell you they want more. This is your call to action, or CTA. A good CTA is simple. It tells people what to do: click this button, call this number, and gives them a reason to do it right now. This is where things like scarcity, only 5 spots left, and urgency, offer ends at midnight come into play. So now you have a magnet. A powerful, valuable gift that gets the right people to raise their hands. But how do you get it in front of them? This brings us to the absolute core of the entire book. Hormozi simplifies all of marketing, all of advertising, into a simple 2x2 grid. He calls it the Core 4. Imagine 2 intersecting lines. The horizontal line represents the people you're talking to. On one side, you have your warm audience. These are people who know you. Your friends, family, followers, past customers. On the other side, you have the cold audience, strangers, people who have never heard of you. The vertical line represents how you communicate. At the top, you have one-to-one communication, private messages like an email, a phone call, a direct message. At the bottom, you have one-to-many communication, public messages like a social media post, a billboard, or a paid ad. These 2 lines create 4 quadrants. And these 4 quadrants are the only 4 ways anyone can let other people know about anything. Quadrant 1. Talking to people who know you, one-to-one. That's warm outreach. Quadrant 2. Talking to people who know you, one-to-many. That's posting free content. Quadrant 3. Talking to strangers, one-to-one. That's cold outreach. And Quadrant 4. Talking to strangers, one-to-many. That's running paid ads. That's it. Every lead generation strategy in the world fits into one of these 4 boxes. This framework is your map. If you're not getting enough leads, it's because you're not doing enough, with enough skill, in one of these 4 areas. So let's walk through the map, starting with the simplest and cheapest method, warm outreach. This is how almost every business starts. It's how Alex started his very first personal training business. He had no advertising skills, but he knew he needed clients. So what did he do? He pulled out his phone and started calling, texting, and messaging people he knew. His offer was simple: I'm training people for free for 12 weeks. All they have to do is donate to a charity and let me use their testimonial. Only 6 people said yes. But those 6 people got incredible results. And when they did, he asked them to send their friends. And they did. That little business, built entirely on warm outreach, grew to $4,000 a month and replaced his job's income. Hormozi gives us a 10-step playbook to get your first 5 clients this way. It starts with realizing you already have a list. Your phone contacts, your email lists, your social media friends? These are all leads. He has a simple rule: reach out to 100 of them a day. Personalize the message. Don't just spam them. Act like a human. Use his ACA framework. Acknowledge what they said, compliment them, and ask another question to guide the conversation. Then, you make your offer. And here's a key insight: you don't ask them to buy. You ask if they know anyone who might be interested. For example, by the way, do you know anybody who is struggling with X and looking to achieve Y? I'm taking on 5 case studies for free to get some testimonials. Most of the time, if they are the right person, they'll say, well, actually, I'm interested. It's a low-pressure way to introduce what you do. And to get those first yeses, make the offer irresistible. Make it free. The first 5 are free. Why? Because in the beginning, your objective is to learn, not to earn. You get reps, you get feedback, and you get testimonials, which are worth more than money when you're starting out. Once people start referring others, you can start charging. Start with an 80% discount for the next 5, then 60%, and so on, until you find your price. Warm outreach is powerful, but it's limited by time and the number of people you know. To reach more people, we move to the next quadrant: posting free content. This is where you go from one-to-one conversations to one-to-many broadcasting. This is where you build an audience. Hormozi admits he resisted this for years. He thought it was a waste of time. Then he saw people like Kylie Jenner, Huda Kattan, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson building billion-dollar brands, seemingly overnight, off the back of their massive audiences. He realized he was wrong. The content itself isn't the asset that compounds, the audience is. So how do you create content that grows an audience? It all comes down to a simple, 3-part structure he calls the content unit. Every successful piece of content, whether it's a 15-second video or a 3-hour movie, does these 3 things: hook, retain, and reward. The hook is the first few seconds. It grabs attention and gives people a reason to stop scrolling. This can be a compelling question, a shocking statement, or a visual that stands out. You have to earn their attention. The retain part is what keeps them watching. This is all about creating curiosity. Hormozi's favorite tools for this are lists: the 7 mistakes every beginner makes, steps, a 3-step guide to, and stories: let me tell you about a time I almost went broke. These structures embed questions in the listener's mind, making them want to know what comes next. And finally, the reward. This is the payoff. You have to satisfy the promise you made in the hook. If you promised 4 marketing strategies for dentists, you better deliver 4 strategies that dentists can actually use. If you deliver value, they'll come back for more. If you don't, they're gone forever. As he says, there's no such thing as too long, only too boring. And what about selling? He champions a philosophy he calls give until they ask. Provide so much value, so consistently, for free, that people start messaging you, asking how they can pay you. You give in public and ask in private. This builds immense trust and grows your audience faster than anything else. Now we've covered the warm side of the map. But what about the other 99.9% of the world who has never heard of you? For that, we cross over to the cold side, starting with cold outreach. This is where you reach out to strangers one-to-one. It's like warm outreach, but with one major difference: they don't know you, and they don't trust you. This presents 3 new problems. You don't have their contact info, they're likely to ignore you, and even if they listen, they're not interested. Hormozi's company was once struggling. Their ads had stopped working, and sales were dipping. He happened to have a call with a young salesman whose job offer they'd just pulled. The salesman mentioned he came from a company that did $10 million a month, almost entirely from cold outreach. A light bulb went off for Alex. He hired the young man on the spot and tasked him with building a cold outreach department from scratch. It was a slow, painful process. The first month, 0 sales. The third month, only 4 sales. The team wanted to quit. But Alex persisted. And slowly, it started to work. It grew to 6 sales, then 10, then 30 sales a month. Today, cold outreach generates millions for his businesses every month. So how do you make it work? First, you solve the contact info problem by building a list. You can use software to scrape data, pay brokers for targeted lists, or do the manual work of finding people in online groups and communities. Second, to get them to listen, you need to personalize your message. Do your homework. Find 1 or 2 things about the person, a recent blog post they wrote, an award they won, and mention it in the first few seconds of your call or the first line of your email. This turns a cold outreach into something that feels like a warm outreach. It shows you're not just a spam robot. Third, to get them interested, you have to offer what Hormozi calls big fast value. With strangers, your lead magnet or offer can't be just pretty good. It has to be mind-blowing. So good they feel stupid saying no. Offer something for free that they would normally pay a lot of money for. This is how you build trust instantly. And because the response rates are naturally lower with cold outreach, the key is volume. You automate as much as you can. You use software to send emails and make calls. And you follow up. A lot. You contact them multiple times, in multiple ways: email, call, text, direct message. Act like you're actually trying to get a hold of them, because you are. This brings us to our final quadrant, the fastest but riskiest of them all: running paid ads. This is where you pay a platform like Facebook, Google, or YouTube to put your message in front of a cold audience, one-to-many. You're trading money for reach. Alex's journey with this started with a $1,000 bet at his mentor Sam's gym. He created an ugly all-caps Facebook ad for a free 6-week challenge. He spent $1,000 and made back nearly $5,700. That simple ad became the foundation for an industry-wide promotion that generated over $1 billion in revenue. The question isn't do ads work? It's how well can you make them work. It's all about efficiency. The process is a funnel of narrowing down. First, you pick a platform where your ideal customers hang out. Second, you target them. You can upload a list of your existing customers and tell the platform to find a lookalike audience, people who are statistically similar. Or you can target based on interests, age, location, and other demographics. Third, you make the ad itself. The structure is simple: call out, value, and call to action. The call out is the hook. It gets the right person to stop and pay attention. It can be a label like "Attention, Dallas homeowners," or a question like "Do you struggle to fall asleep at night?" The value part is where you explain why they should be interested, using all the elements of a great offer: the dream outcome, the speed, the ease. And the call to action tells them exactly what to do next. And what about the money? Hormozi breaks it down into 3 phases. Phase 1 is track money. Before you spend a dime, make sure you can track your results. Phase 2 is lose money. You have to be willing to invest in testing. He says he's lost money more times than he's made money, but his few big wins pay for all the losses and then some. His rule is to budget 2 times the cash you'd collect from a single customer to test a new ad. If it's not working by then, shut it off. If it is, you move to phase 3, print money. If you have a machine that gives you $10 for every $1 you put in, your budget should be all the money. You spend as much as you can, as long as it's profitable. This is the key to limitless scale, a concept he calls client-financed acquisition. The goal is to make back the money you spent to acquire a customer within the first 30 days. If it costs you $30 in ads to get a customer who pays you $10 a month, you're losing money up front. But if you can sell them a $100 product right away, and 1 in 5 people buy it, you've added an average of $20 to that first transaction. Now you're making $30 back on your $30 ad spend. You've broken even. Every dollar they spend after that is pure profit. Your customers are now financing your growth. And that is the core four. 4 simple, powerful ways to get leads. But Hormozi doesn't stop there. He says once you're doing these, there are only 3 ways to grow: more, better, and new. You can do more of what's working, double your outreach, double your ad spend. You can do it better, test your headlines, improve your offer, find the bottleneck in your process and fix it. And once you've exhausted those, you can do it somewhere new, a new social media platform, a new type of ad, or even a whole new core 4 method. But if you truly want to build a $100 million machine, you can't do it alone. You need leverage. And that leverage comes from what he calls lead getters. These are other people who do the core 4 for you. There are 4 types of lead getters. The first and most powerful are your customers. A happy customer is the best advertising you can have. Hormozi tells a story of his ads being accidentally shut off for 2 weeks, and his company still doing $500,000 a week in sales, purely from word-of-mouth referrals. How? By creating so much value that your customers feel compelled to tell their friends. And then, you have to ask for the referral. Create a referral program. Dropbox did this by offering free storage to both the referrer and the friend, and their business grew 39-fold in 15 months. The second are employees. This is how you turn your high-paying job into a valuable asset. An employee can be trained to do any of the core 4 activities. The secret is his 3D training method: document, demonstrate, duplicate. First, you document your exact process in a checklist. Then, you demonstrate it for them. Finally, you have them duplicate it in front of you until they get it right. The third are agencies. But Hormozi has a unique approach. He doesn't hire an agency to do the work for him forever. He hires them to teach him the skill. He pays them a premium for a limited time, usually 6 months, with the explicit goal of learning their process so he can bring it in-house and train his own team. You're not buying a service, you're buying an education. And the fourth, the highest leverage of all, are affiliates and partners. An affiliate is another business that agrees to promote your stuff to their audience in exchange for a commission. With one good affiliate, you're not just getting one customer, you're gaining access to their entire river of customers. His supplement company, Prestige Labs, was built on this model. He recruited thousands of gym owners to sell his supplements to their members. The first month, sales were a disappointing $150,000. He thought it was a failure. But in the 4th week, it exploded, doing over $450,000 in sales in that week alone. The system was working. The affiliate army was activated. Each of these, the core 4 and the lead getters, is a lever. And as you pull more of them, your ability to get leads grows, first linearly, and then exponentially. You go from your friends knowing about your stuff, to your employees doing the work, to having an army of affiliates bringing you customers while you sleep. You build a machine. And that machine, when built correctly, is unstoppable. Commentary. As we step back from the intricate details of Alex Hormozi's framework, what emerges is a surprisingly simple, almost philosophical approach to business. The core message isn't about finding a secret hack or a magic bullet. It's about demystifying the process of getting customers and revealing it for what it is: a skill. A skill that can be learned, practiced, and mastered through relentless, intelligent effort. The most powerful lesson, I believe, is the shift from seeing advertising as a mysterious art to seeing it as a predictable system of inputs and outputs. Hormozi's rule of 100, making 100 outreach attempts a day, every day, is a testament to this. He's telling us that volume negates luck. You can't control if one person says yes, but you can control how many people you ask. And if you ask enough people, in the right way, with the right offer, the yeses become inevitable. This is incredibly empowering. It takes the emotional roller coaster out of entrepreneurship and replaces it with a clear, actionable plan. You either win, or you learn. And as long as you keep playing, you can't lose. What also stands out is the deep respect for the customer woven throughout the book. The idea of giving until they ask is radical in a world obsessed with quick conversions and aggressive sales funnels. Hormozi argues that the fastest way to grow is often by being the most patient. By building goodwill, by delivering overwhelming value up front, you create a tribe of evangelists who will do your marketing for you, for free. An amazing product, he says, turns every customer into a lead getter. That's a profound idea. It suggests that your product and your marketing are not separate functions, they are two sides of the same coin. So, how can you start applying these ideas today, right now, even if you're just starting out? First, embrace the mindset of a student. The next time you see an advertisement, don't skip it. Analyze it. Try to spot the call out, the value, and the call to action. Ask yourself, who are they trying to reach? What promise are they making? This simple habit will turn your daily life into a masterclass in marketing. Second, take action on the easiest, lowest cost strategy, warm outreach. Tonight, make a list of 10 people you know. Not to sell them anything, but just to practice the A-C-A framework. Reach out, acknowledge something going on in their life, give them a genuine compliment, and ask a question. Just practice being a human who is interested in other humans. This is the foundational skill for everything else. Finally, internalize the fable of the many-sided die. You don't know if you were given a die with 20 sides or 200. You don't know if your first roll will be a success or a failure. But you do know one thing for certain: the more times you roll, the more greens you will get. And if you stop rolling, you lose. That's it. Stop comparing your second roll to someone else's 100th. Just pick up your die and roll again. That was a deep dive into $100 million leads by Alex Hormozi. We've explored the core 4 methods and the powerful lead getters that can scale your business. But I'll be honest with you, a summary, no matter how detailed, is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. It shows you the landmarks, but it can never replace the feeling of walking the streets yourself. The real magic of this book is in the smaller details, the specific scripts, and the sheer motivational force of Hormozi's writing. This summary is your map, designed to help you decide if the journey is right for you. If anything we've discussed today has sparked a fire in you, I urge you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about gaining knowledge, it's about fundamentally rewiring how you think about growth, value, and the very nature of opportunity. The link is right there in the description. And if you found this journey valuable and want to explore more world-changing books from the Billionaire's Bookshelf, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe. It tells us we're on the right track and ensures you won't miss our next adventure. Let's keep rolling the dice and keep growing together.